Hi, I'm Megan. I'm a trauma healing practitioner, among other things. And I just wanted to talk today a little bit about developmental trauma, aka childhood trauma. People talk to me, they're like, "Oh, you treat developmental trauma. That's a thing that people have." um, but not me. And I think there is this kind of view that a lot of people have that like only certain people have developmental trauma and other people don't. And actually, I mean, at this point in our history, I think we pretty much all have developmental trauma. There might be a few people here and there that don't have it, but they're the outliers, right? They're the outliers. So the people who have the trauma are actually like the norm, and the people who don't have it are the outliers. So this is really in large part because of the way that we live as a culture. We are living in a way that is not compatible with our neurobiology. It is not compatible with our physiology. And so it's traumatizing to us as we're trying to develop our bodies. We're developing our minds, we're developing our hearts, we're developing our nervous systems, right? As children, we're developing all these things, but we're developing in an environment that is not supporting our development and is, in fact, hindering it in many ways. And that's just the reality. So even if you had amazing parents who like tried really hard and were super self-aware and all of that, it's likely that you and me and all of us, that we still have developmental trauma because of the culture that we're in. If someone was raised in a way that was like really outside of cultural norms and they had caregivers who were super self-aware, and there may be some people that are in that situation and they really don't have developmental trauma, but it's very rare. So I want to normalize it, right? Because when I tell people that I work with developmental trauma, there can be this kind of way of looking at it like, oh, that's other people that you work with. And I'm like, no, it's like all of us, right? We all need support around healing from the things that we didn't get in childhood that had really lasting impacts on us as adults, right? So if we think about trauma and how it's really the stuff that we were not able to get, or the stuff we did get that was harmful to us as children, it gets kind of trapped in the body, right? It gets kind of stuck in the body because we're not able to process it. And I talked about that more in my video that I called What is Trauma? So if you want more about that, you can listen to that. But, that's the premise, is that there's this stuff in our systems that we haven't been able to metabolize it, because we didn't have the support we needed to metabolize it. So a bad experience, a lack of experience, lots of things can happen as children. So we have that in our system unmetabolized, and it creates basically a situation where the nervous system is chronically in survival mode, right? Because that undigested material leaves an imprint on the nervous system, and that imprint is an imprint of like, I'm not safe, I'm not okay, I need to survive, I'm in a survival situation. And so then we grow up with our nervous systems kind of chronically in fight or flight, or chronically in freeze, or both. And so we grow up and we become adults, and we have these nervous systems that are responding to the undigested material by just being constantly in a survival state. So this is a physiological condition, right? The nervous system being in this survival mode. And it causes a lot of different symptoms. And I made a list, and this is not exhaustive by any means, but here's some of the symptoms that it causes as an adult. A chronic sense of feeling lost or rudderless, a chronic sense of like a lack of motivation, a chronic feeling of hopelessness, a feeling of shame or a feeling of not being good enough, a feeling of being left out, excuse me, a feeling of tension. And this could be tension in the body, like chronic muscle tension. It could be tension in the mind or both. A chronic sense of a need to control my environment. It could be a chronic sense of anxiety or even just kind of nervousness, excessive worry, perfectionism, a sense of loneliness and not knowing how to make friends, a sense of restlessness and agitation, or even like more extreme would be like a chronic sense of being really just angry and frustrated, like a lot. I want to be clear, like everyone gets angry sometimes, right? But this would be like chronic anger. Addiction, chronic dissociation, kind of constantly checking out, can't really be present. Challenges with intimate relationships, chronic pain in the body, autoimmune conditions, ADD, ADHD, depression. This is a huge list, right? And so many of us are experiencing this. And this is literally the way that our systems respond to this way that the nervous systems are chronically in survival, right? So these are symptoms of the nervous system chronically being in survival. So these symptoms are not what is wrong with you, right? These symptoms are normal symptoms. This is a normal thing that the human organism does when the nervous system is constantly in stress, when the nervous system is constantly in survival. And for most of us, we started that when we were children, right? We started being in that survival mode as children, and now we're just like, this is it. This is how we're living, right? And so the natural way that the body responds is to have these kinds of symptoms. So I really want to emphasize this, right? Because so many people who have developmental trauma, again, which is most of us, but so many of us are walking around thinking like, God, what's wrong with me? Why do I feel so hopeless all the time? Or why am I so angry all the time? Whatever it is, right? We feel like there's something wrong with us. And I want to say emphatically, there is nothing wrong with you. This is a normal human response to a nervous system that is stuck in the survival mode. And your nervous system is stuck in that mode because of things that happened or didn't happen when you were a kid, which is not your fault, right? So I really want to offer a reframe here, that this is not about you. This is just something that you're experiencing because of what you went through. So I hope that's helpful. I have another video called How We Heal that's maybe a little more uplifting. But I think this reframe is really important. All right, more next time. Bye.